Take him down, Nix. All right, Nix. Go get him.
Kay Vess she is so expressive. I find that she can have her personality really be highlighted in this. She's sassy, she's witty, a bit of a, know-it-all. She finds herself in trouble so much. So there's less toughness. She has cracks in her armor, and that heart and vulnerability seep through a lot more than you would in a character like Dani Rojas, who has a bit more like combat training and kind of handling enemies in a very, very different way.
And really it became about what can we bring that's new? Well, okay, we're between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. We've seen that rebellion story. But what about someone like Kay Vess, who's on the ground, who has her own struggle? And when she looks at the rebellion or the Empire, these are people puppeteering the galaxy. That's not her world. I don't know how you felt when you first found out that it was Star Wars.
It was such a long process too. Like it must have been like 5 or 6 months of auditioning and working through the material in person, both in person and also like just through my iPhone and the initial audition. But it was such a long process. And even before I heard, from the last chemistry read to when I heard it had still been like 3 or 4 weeks. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I got it. Like as an actor, you don't really think about that and you kind of let things go. But when it inevitably came back to me, it was like, there's no way. And something I actually did during that process, I remember this because it was 2022, May 5th, one day short of May 4th.
1 day short.
So close. We tried to time.
I know. That was my last chemistry read. And I woke up that morning. It was a very early audition because I know that the team was, tuning in from Sweden. And I woke up that day and it was a beautiful, like sunny day. And I just had this instinct to record myself. And I made a video vlog for future Humberly, talking about the project, how I felt about it, not knowing it was Star Wars yet. And just saying, you did it and I'm proud of you. And that was it. It was like a moment of like, did I just disrupt time and space? Because it happened and I got that call and there was something in me that just knew like, yes, of course it's me. I felt it. I felt the alignment to Kay Vess. And, that was the day that afternoon that I found out it was Star Wars. And it was just like, oh my gosh. I think I also blasted the music, actually. I think I did.
And I would say that Humberly as well, when we were doing auditions, we always saved it to the very end unless we were really, really certain. When we said it was Star Wars, she didn't flinch, because that's also a bit of a, well, are you okay to handle the sort of what that means and that kind of thing? And you just were like, all right, let's do this, right?
Let's play. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We gotta move next. These guys don't stop.
Yeah, and I just love that the story is very, very different than the Star Wars stories. Like, what was it like? How was it working on like creating the new characters that part of this universe?
What you need an in. And I think, this is such a well-trodden ground, this sort of period in time between Empire and Jedi, that for us, it really became about relatability. It became about what's happening to the people on the ground while all of this, craziness is happening within the galaxy. And so when we honed in on that, we thought, okay, someone like Kay, who is a street thief, essentially, who is on this sort of journey to become an outlaw, who's dreaming of freedom, but freedom from a different perspective. And that's how we approached each character, where this isn't about freedom of the galaxy. This is about freedom for Kay herself and what it means to be free. Take that, you put it on a character like ND5, who, was a BX commando in the Clone Wars, always used to taking orders. He's now taking orders from a criminal like Jalen Vrax. So with every character, it was, well, how do I relate to them? How do I connect to them? And I think it really is, these characters are one of us. You know, these characters are the folks that are kind of dealing with the fact that the galaxy is being pulled on a string. And so I think that was it. It was it for us, was just that relatable aspect.
And for you, I know during the panel, you mentioned, as a proud Latino, very, very proud to be part of this. Now, there's not that many Latinos in Star Wars.
Oh.
And for those who don't know, in Spanish, it's
Guerra de las Galaxias.
I was going to ask you,
Of course, that was my entire introduction to Guerra de las Galaxias. It was all in Spanish, and I was a kid, and all of the names, we have Arturito, who the names that we thought were the names that we didn't. Kay Vess. We found that out. A fan online was like, "Did you notice that Kay Vess sounds like Kay Vess? What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "That is so Kay." She would go up to someone and be like, "What are you looking at, Kay Vess?"
Yeah.
And it was such a little moment of subliminal messaging that, like, hey, maybe I was always meant to play this, and she was always meant to be Latina.
Move forward! Raising the alarm! Calling for backup! Push forward!
Nix, the door!
Move forward!
Feeling of being part of this project, being Latina, because there's not that many Latinos in
I know.
part of the story.
I don't know if it was never the intention. I don't think. I think whoever just had the right energy and was going to bring that character to life. I love that the team was open to whoever it is. I love that it was me, and it was a Venezuelan, let alone, because even Venezuela is so underrepresented in the industry. And me being an actor now, in the last, I guess, almost decade of my career thus far, I've always tried to bring Venezuela to the forefront, to share what that means to me. And I haven't been back home in that exact amount of time. So it keeps me connected to my roots. It's a connection to my family. The fact that I get to create projects so far away, and they got to go to the movies and see it. They get to play the game and see it, and know that they're still connected to me somehow. I think being an immigrant can be so difficult, that being an artist does have, that connectivity. It's like a spider web from all of these projects and bringing it back home. And it's honestly an honor. It's a huge representation. I've had a lot of Latino and Hispanic fans online just be so proud. They're always like, "De punto fijo al espacio." And it's just like, I know what it would feel like for them, because if I saw a Venezuelan leading something like this, I would be their biggest fan instantly, and I would feel so proud. Even if I didn't know them, it would feel like I'm a part of that. I just want people to see themselves in spaces like this, that Latinos do deserve to be in leading roles, and they can bring stories like these to life.
Yeah, I've been playing the game for a couple hours. Phenomenal job. So
you.
yeah. So let's talk about Nix, your partner. So your relationship between you two, and what you could tell us about that.
It's amazing. I mean, knowing that you have almost this very cute creature who's also very vicious. They're a soundboard. And it's like, yes, Kay is a bit of a lone wolf, and she wants freedom for herself, but she also has this big heart that with Nix, it's her family. She's so protective, and you get to see her interact with Nix in a very different way than she interacts with everybody else in Star Wars and in this universe specifically, whether they're a crime syndicate or, someone on a cantina or a bartender, whatever it is. She has this armor of toughness and grit. When it comes to Nix, you see her be softer and protective and almost motherly. And I think it's so great, because I do think Nix is a mirror of her. When Kay has to put up a strong face, Nix will be scared, and she kind of looks at him and goes, "It's okay, buddy. We'll be okay." You feel the nervousness of her too. It's like, if Nix is feeling something, Kay probably is too. They're that connected, and it's so great to see them in this duo kind of interact in this world. Everything that he does is jumping on her, jumping on the speeder, following around. He gets jealous and hungry and defensive and scared. So it just, I think, adds to the world of Star Wars. There's always, they can call them sidekicks or comrades or anything, but in this story, I think they are so united like family.
That's awesome.
The
Awesome.
big focus for us was really on quality over quantity, you know, and really just making sure that every step of the way, if your curiosity was piqued, we would sort of reward that, you know, and I think there is that main journey for Kay. There are sort of those lighthouse moments that we want players to hit to feel that forward momentum, but it's Star Wars to be able to go off and explore the open world, to be able to meet an expert who's gonna help you gain a new ability and follow their journey. And so what was crucial was to wrap it in character. Everything is based around character, is all about just learning and progressing in Kay's journey and making sure that those that she interacts with, whether it's someone in a vendor stall or it's someone who's going to modify her speeder, is going to bring something new to Kay's story.
My last question for you,
Mhm.
for those that they have a dream to be part of a project like this, what advice would you give them?
You know, there is such a thing as a superpower that we all possess, which is our self-belief. Believing that you can and saying yes to a dream that you have is already the first step. Um, I was an immigrant. I never had an exposure to the industry whatsoever, and I went for it because there was just no option for me to not follow that dream. I said, look, if all else fails, I can go somewhere else, but I know that if I don't go for what I want, it's not going to be as fulfilling. And I was lucky enough that my dad actually encouraged that. And I think as immigrants and Latinos, that's a fear that I thought they would want me to be an engineer or a doctor or something that had more weight and value. But I think the arts have a lot of value and they can change people's lives. The stories that we tell unite us all. So for me, believing in myself, it was all mindset. Honestly, I think I always tell people and encourage them, if you want to do it and there's a calling for a reason, you got to go for it and you do it courageously with your heart forward. And even if you're scared, you do it shaking. But there's not a day that I regret going into this, even through the challenges, which there have been many, of course. You deal with rejection and comparison. And at the end of the day, you realize that everyone has that special magic within them. So definitely go for it if that's your calling.
Manifest.
Yeah.
Really?
And you visualize it, you fight for it. It's honestly the secret is just to try. Say yes.
Yes, definitely. Well, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Congrats. Can't wait to play the full game.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.